An incredible feat that he was, kept alive for 2 months and was able to enjoy his family.
Prior attempts at such transplants have failed, largely because patients' bodies rapidly rejected the animal organ. This time, the Maryland surgeons used a heart from a gene-edited pig.
This has not in any way, dampened my enthusiasm about xenotransplantation and the fact that it's close at hand.
I'm Shelley Adler.
Watching Wall Street, S&P futures are down 46 points. Dow futures off 329. More on these stories at townhall.com.
It takes balance to be successful in farming, because what you get out of it depends on what you put in. And Corteva Agriscience gets that. Introducing Nutritia and Nutrient Efficiency Optimizer, a biological product that naturally captures nitrogen from the air. It's a sustainable way to add balance to your traditional nitrogen methods and maximize your yield potential. Embrace a balanced approach to nitrogen management this season by visiting corteva.us.
In 2022, First National Bank and Trust Company of Clinton is celebrating its 150th anniversary. Follow them on Facebook or visit their website at firstinbtc.com for exciting announcements as they celebrate all year long. First National Bank and Trust Company's goal is to ignite prosperity by helping its clients do more with their money. Thank you for being part of their story for 150 years. First National Bank and Trust Company, member FDIC.
We are 6 minutes after the hour here on this Thursday morning. We start the day under partly cloudy skies, 26 degrees in Clinton. It feels like 15 outside.
You're listening to The Morning Show. Local information that makes a difference. Here's your regional weather.
On this Thursday, chances of rain, even snow later this afternoon. Cloudy otherwise. Highs in the upper 30s. A north-northeast wind at 10 to 20 miles an hour. Tonight, snow likely, less than an inch of accumulation. Temperatures in the mid-20s. A north-northeast wind at 10 to 15 miles per hour. A 40% chance of early snow Friday. Otherwise, cloudy, highs in the mid-30s. A north-northeast wind at 15 to 20 miles an hour. Friday night, a gradual clearing. Lows around 10 degrees. Wind chills Friday night between 5 and 5 below zero. Sunny Saturday, highs in the mid-20s, a northwest wind at 10 to 20 miles an hour. And Sunday, sunny and breezy and mild. Temperatures in the lower to mid-50s, a southwest wind at 15 to 20 miles an hour. Wind gusts around 30 miles per hour. As we start this Thursday morning, partly cloudy skies across central Illinois, 23 degrees in Bloomington. It is 26 in Mahomet, 25 degrees in Champaign, 27 in Monticello and Decatur, 26 in Mount Pulaski and Lincoln, 26 in Springfield, and 23 in Peoria. 26 overcast in Clinton. Feels like 15 degrees outside. North winds at 10 miles an hour, 80% humidity, 10 miles of visibility. This morning, get the latest in local weather at DeWittDailyNews.com.
New trucks and SUVs are coming here at Baum Chevrolet.
From regional radio, DeWittDailyNews.com and the WHOW app. This is local information making a difference.
Top of the morning, 7 minutes after the hour on this Thursday. Coverage of news today is brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and the WHOW Morning Show streams live to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. The Alta Farms 2 wind farm, currently being erected in northwest DeWitt County, is just a few weeks away from having all the turbines installed, but will be delayed going online. That's according to project manager Brayton McGee, who told regional radio on the WHOW Morning Show Wednesday they have around a dozen turbines to still be installed.
They're going up. We're currently have 36 erected. We'll finish 2 more today. So we'll have 12 left to do. Should take us about another 2 weeks, depending on the wind, to erect the rest.
The Alta Farms 2 wind project was supposed to go live in May this spring, but because of delays on the project, it will not actually go live until the fall. McGee explains that's because ComEd does not allow summer outages for them to take the farm live.
Yeah, so originally this wind farm was supposed to go live in May. We've had a couple of delays, specifically on the substation portion, on some design issues and some procurement issues. It's pushed us into an area where we can't interconnect during the summer. We don't take, ComEd specifically doesn't take an outage during the summer. So we won't be able to go live until September, October. So we're delayed a little bit in that, but we'll be commissioning and doing some other activities. You'll see a few of them spinning at a time while we commission them with generators and some other components, but we'll get them spinning to test them and check them out. And then later in the year, when we get interconnection, then we'll start bringing on full strings and then the whole park. So I would expect by late October, that wind farm will be spinning.
According to McGee, the tower placements all have a reason for where they're placed. He indicates a small number of larger turbines are located closer to Clinton because of predetermined wind patterns.
Yeah, so we have two different sizes out there. We have 11 2.3 megawatt machines, and we have 30, whatever that is, 38, 39, 4.5 machines, really large machines. We have a group within Enel that analyzes the wind patterns out there, and they determine where these towers go. Whatever area will harvest the best wind is where we put the towers. Gotcha. I don't get into that a whole lot, but we have a whole group that studies and analyzes it.
After the heavy equipment from the project has been moved off, McGee says they'll then work on the road improvements for those roads impacted during the project footprint. The community is invited out this weekend to check out Shrek the Musical, being put on by the Clinton High School Thespians. Caitlin Burton, who plays Fiona, believes everyone will enjoy their production as they have a lot of dynamic characters and big sets, and there are kids in the cast, which adds a lot of depth. Kyrie Toll, who plays the donkey, says it follows the movie pretty closely.
So Shrek the Musical, it's like a really fun production. It's big. We have big set. All of our costumes are really elaborate, and then we have little kids in the cast as well, which kind of adds to like the depth of like characters and stuff. And it's been a lot of fun to put on. It's a lot of singing, and everybody knows Shrek. It's mainly Shrek 1, the music or the movie.
It follows the movie pretty accurately and closely. There's a few things that are separate or added, but I think those things add something to the movie rather than take something away, which I think is really cool.
Dennis Lux, who plays Shrek, says they've had a lot to overcome this year between canceled school days due to weather, along with sickness in the program.
It's been a bit of a roller coaster. I mean, we've had a lot of bumps, especially with the school year so far. We had a lot of snow days that took away a lot of our practices, but it's really coming together towards the end. I think it's going to be a great show. So I play Shrek, the ogre. It's not really one that requires a lot of like dancing or anything. It's mostly ogres aren't very graceful. So I like to think that Shrek is just this big guy, really loud person, doesn't really like moving around a whole lot, doesn't like being touched, just wants to be all by himself, all to his own.
Toll gives the students in the support roles of the production a lot of credit. She says they have a lot of talented people behind the scenes keeping the show together.
We have an amazing, specifically I want to highlight our tech group. I'm going to highlight a little bit of everyone, but our tech group is so amazing. We don't have a lot of people on tech. We have Lizzie, who is in charge of a lot of stuff, but she does our sound for this show. And then we have Eli Atkins, and he is doing just about everything. Both of them are doing just about everything. And then we have actually one of the kids who is two of the kids who are performing in the show are also on one of our spotlights while they're performing as well. With insane. They run back and forth. They're doing just about everything. And then we also have amazing people backstage who are keeping the show together. If it weren't for Ava and Lewis specifically, sets would be crazy. Our props crew, nothing would get done. There would just simply be nothing on stage without them. And I personally know that set is a huge part of the show, and without them, it wouldn't be the same.
The three seniors are looking forward to the shows and their final productions at Clinton High School. You can catch Shrek the Musical at Clinton High School's auditorium this Friday at 7, Saturday at 2 o'clock or 7 o'clock, and then Sunday at 2 o'clock. If you'd like to pre-order your tickets, find the Stage Kicks app on your phone, but you can also get tickets at the door the day of the performance. Today is National Slam the Scam Day. Scams are an ever-evolving topic as fraudsters become more and more creative in ways to rip off the public. Jack Myers at Social Security says this is part of the Federal Trade Commission's National Consumer Protection Week, which is this week. Slam the Scam Day started in 2020 by Social Security's Office of the Inspector General to combat Social Security-related imposter scams, but is now expanded to include other government imposter scams as well.
Yeah, Seth, you're right. And in a lot of ways, that's unfortunate, but I do appreciate the platform here and having an opportunity to talk about these things just to raise awareness for folks, because I think that's the only way we have any shot at combating these scams is by raising awareness and helping people understand that they're out there. And that's really what the goal of Slam the Scam Day is. It's going to be, as you mentioned, on March 10th. And it's really just an effort to raise public awareness of these pervasive scams that continue to plague the nation. And, this particular Slam the Scam Day is going to be part of the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, that's another federal government agency. They're putting on something called National Consumer Protection Week from March 6th through 12th. And Slam the Scam Day is going to be part of that. Basically, Seth, this is something that started a couple years ago in 2020 by Social Security's Office of the Inspector General. That's basically our law enforcement branch, if you will, that investigates fraud and scams and things like that. And
Myers reminds, in a government imposter scam, someone claiming to be a Social Security or other government employee may ask for personal information, demand payment, or make threats. These scams primarily use the telephone, but could also come through email, text message, social media, or even U.S. mail.
They started it back then to combat Social Security-related imposter scams. But today it's being expanded to include other government imposter scams as well, because it's not just limited to Social Security.
Mm-hmm.
People call up and pretend to be from other government agencies as well. So, it's really, like I said, just an effort to get the word out. You're going to probably start to see as we get closer to March 10th, you'll start to see some stuff on social media from various government agencies and things like that. Just, mentioning Slam the Scam Day and trying to raise awareness so that people don't fall victim to this. And
according to the Federal Trade Commission, from January through September 2021, consumers lost more than $331 million to government imposter scams.
Unfortunately, Seth, according to the Federal Trade Commission, a lot of people did fall victim to these scams last year. Some data that they have says that from January through September 2021, consumers lost more than $331 million to government imposter scams.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's just awful to hear that. And anything we can do to try and help combat that is what we want to do. And that's why we do things like Slam the Scam Day and talk about it on your program and things like that, just so people know this stuff is going on and that you got to protect yourself against it.
Myers points out the Office of the Inspector General urges everyone to be cautious of any contact supposedly from a government agency telling you about a problem you don't recognize. They remind real government officials will never threaten arrest or legal action against you unless you immediately send money.
Our Office of Inspector General has, as part of this Slam the Scam Day, has issued some reminders that real government officials will never threaten arrest or legal action against you, and the guise of these scams is a lot of times they're threatening this arrest or the legal action, and they're telling you, this terrible thing is going to happen to you unless you immediately send money. So that's never going to be something that a real government official is going to do. On the flip side of that, we're not going to call you up and promise to increase your benefits if you send money, or promise to resolve a problem instantly if you pay a fee or send money to an account or something. We're never going to require payment with gift cards or prepaid debit cards or wire transfer, internet currency, or by mailing cash. Those are all types of techniques that the scammers use to try to get your money.
Additionally, government officials will never promise to increase your benefits or resolve a problem if you pay a fee or move money into a protected account, nor require payments with gift cards, prepaid debit cards, wire transfer, internet currency, or by mailing cash. Myers notes Social Security will never try to gain your trust by emailing fake documentation or evidence.
And then we don't email you documentation or evidence to prove anything. Sometimes what these scammers have graduated to doing is, if they suspect that maybe they've got a shot to get you, but you're a little skeptical, they'll offer to email you some proof, and they just email you some fake documentation. We're not going to do that. We're never going to email you any kind of documentation that has personally identifiable information for you or for us. So if you're getting something like that in an email, you know that that's coming from a scammer.
You're encouraged to report Social Security imposter scams to oig.ssa.gov or to ftc.gov/scams. It is 20 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Thursday morning. More to come on the WHOW Morning Show.
New trucks and SUVs are coming here at Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton. This is Scott Baum. Yes, we have new inventory arriving, and you can see what will arrive right on our website. Just click on the pre-order and reserve tab. From there, you will find vehicles in transit and vehicles in production. Or just call our sales staff and we'll help. Find Silverados, Equinoxes, Blazers, including Tahoes and Suburbans, as well as our complete Buick line of SUVs. BaumChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
It's 20 minutes after the hour on this Thursday. Again, I'm Seth Lawrence with you folks today for this expanded local newscast. It's 26 degrees, overcast in Clinton. It feels like 17 outside. Coverage of news brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and the WHOW Morning Show streams live to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. Commodity prices on a roller coaster ride as futures skyrocket, but then returned below trading numbers throughout the week after jumping to an all-time high Tuesday. Wheat dropped almost 4% Tuesday as Russia continues to invade Ukraine. Kurt Kimmel, owner of Bates Commodities in Normal, says prices like wheat and corn are all over the map.
One thing to remember is when you go back in history, it's hard to remember history, but when you look at past price charts, you have sharp, straight up. But the thing is, it comes right back down. So Mr. Gravity comes in once in a while. So as a producer, you got to kind of sell a little as you go and take advantage of these ups. If you never watched commodities, corn, beans, or crude oil futures, this is a time to watch. I don't recommend getting into it, but it's a big moving type of marketplace here. We've not seen these types of moves for many years. We're in a situation where if they don't let some fertilize come out of that country, we import a lot of fertilize, particularly potash from them. That's going to drive up world prices. And the problem with that is, even though we are seeing higher corn, bean, wheat values here in the U.S., that's great, but our inputs are going to be relatively high from the standpoint we're going to pay quite a bit to get that fertilize. Then also, too, world fuel has gone through the roof here. The crude oil, heating oil, and everything's gone up quite a bit. So it's going to increase the farmer's cost to plant this crop next year, particularly. This year, they're pretty well locked in, and we'll be in the field here in another 2 months. But next year, 2023, is going to be a big question mark.
Kurt Kimmel says prices were initially bullish, but as turmoil continues, prices turned bearish. Around 16% of the world's corn crop comes out of the Black Sea region. Grain bin rescue training remains an important cause for rural fire departments. Kevin Schwarzkopf is a captain with the Bishop Hill Fire Department in Henry County.
The training for it it's pretty extensive, especially after last year. They've upped their training requirements to be certified grain bin rescue, and it can be pretty expensive. The hardest thing to get through to people is in the state of Illinois is the restrictions on people that can go into a grain bin if there is some sort of entrapment or somebody stuck in an auger, or, God forbid, somebody gets buried under grain. So a regular fire department people cannot go into a grain bin. They have to be grain bin certified. Even a technical rescue team shouldn't go into a grain bin unless they've had the grain bin rescue. So it's a very small group of people that have had the training to go into a grain bin. So we had 4 guys in our department that wanted to take it on, and they were part of a pretty large group in our area. We've got in the Knox County, we've got Watauga, and then there's Monmouth area. So the idea is we're setting up 3 separate trailers with all the same equipment in it so that these guys can all go to a call if we get called out to support each other. And we're the farthest north in the state of Illinois. So we kind of expect that we're going to get called anywhere from here to, the Wisconsin line at any point in time. And so it's the donations went to all the, the ladders and the lots of the ropes and lots of harnesses, pulley systems, and of course the grain tube that we've talked about.
And again, this is Ag Safety Awareness Week. The blood supply is still under stress. Don Morris with the South Central Red Cross says nationwide, the Red Cross still provides 40% of the blood supply, but winter weather and continued worries about COVID seem to be keeping people away from donation centers. If you donate to the Red Cross and you have the Red Cross app, Morris says you'll be able to know a little bit about how your donation is being used. All blood types are needed, and you can start donating after the age of 16. Kinks in the supply chain for foods are bringing on higher prices, and those are bringing on some consumer reactions. Gary Crawford has more.
Before COVID hit, grocery store shelves were 95 to 98% fully stocked of all products. Then, of course, came COVID, and those fully stocked percentages plummeted into the 70 to 80% range.
Consumers aren't used to this. And so even things that, again, are objectively pretty good service, I think feel like a big change to their life.
That's Andy Herrig with the Food Marketing Institute, a group that represents the nation's food stores. And he told the recent Agriculture Department Outlook Forum the other day that even now, stores are still having problems getting some products and keeping them on the shelves. The so-called supply chain continuing to have problems all the way from farms to processing and shipping and on to supermarkets.
And really, for the first time,
The all-new 2019 Chevy Silverado is proud to be
just how complex the supply chain can be.
And how a problem anywhere along the line can reduce the amount of product available to consumers whose demand for those products continues strong. Biggest problem right now, according to Andy Herrig, a shortage of labor.
It is spread across the entire supply chain. It is incredibly difficult to get enough people to fill jobs, and when you get them, to keep them.
The next problem closely tied to labor, transportation of goods.
That extends not just on seaports, but is across the board. It is rail, it is trucking, it is all the different transportation sectors.
Food companies and stores are having trouble getting what they need to even package products. And in fact, to show you how one little thing can bollocks up the whole food chain, Andy gives this example.
I would say one of the things we're hearing about recently is some of our members are having difficulty obtaining printer ink for the labels on their packages. So these kind of, again, maybe not what you think of directly as being engaged with food, but very much part of the food supply chain.
And if you do the food shopping for you or your family, you have no doubt seen the result of all of this.
A huge increase in food inflation that we haven't really seen going forward.
Andy says we're seeing price inflation for the general economy running at 7% above a year ago. Grocery store food items not far behind at 6.5%. Normally, food prices go up an average of only about 2% a year. And already, food shoppers seem to be reacting to these rising prices.
We are starting to see some changes in that consumer market basket.
Consumers switching to lower priced products like rice and pasta. Those products are flying off the shelves, according to Andy Herrick. And sales of chicken breasts, for example, are down.
Chicken breast is kind of the canary in the coal mine sometimes on consumer behavior. It's one of the first things they shift away from.
And they are doing that. Andy Herrick thinks food prices will continue to rise this year. He says he expects we'll see a lowering of consumer concerns about empty shelves.
And a rise in prices being the sort of more concern for most people.
Especially as we also try to cope with much higher prices, not just for food, but for just about everything. Gary Crawford reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
It is 29 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Thursday morning. Under cloudy skies, 26 degrees. It feels like 17 outside for this morning. Today we'll see a chance of rain and snow, temperatures in the upper 30s. Coverage of news is brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and the WHOW Morning Show streams live to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent.